Folks, happy Halloween. They're a little early, but the whole month of October is Halloween. And first I want to thank the sponsor of this video. This video is brought to you by AMC Plus and The Walking Dead. And The Walking Dead's been a wild ride for me. I was here on YouTube talking about it when it first came out, and now I'm here talking about it as it reaches its endgame. It's been a wild ride for me, meeting some characters that would become favorites. Some started out as villains. That scene, that intro of Negan with the whole eeny, meeny, miny, mo thing, that is a solid 15 minutes of television tension right there. Which makes his flip from villain to anti-hero one of the more unexpected elements in recent Walking Dead for me. It's the end of an era, and it being the beginning of the final season, anything's possible, which makes me very interested. Predictions? Carol's gonna survive us all. She has to. You can catch the part 1 finale of The Walking Dead early on the AMC Plus app using the 7-day free trial. Just click the link below, and thank you once again to AMC Plus for sponsoring this video. I do appreciate it. And now, more Squid Game. Why? Because after I did my review, people were like, sweet, spoiler talk, please. And this is exactly how it went down. I kid you not. After my dad and I watched it, I'm doing my video. My dad immediately restarts Squid Game and watches it in its entirety again, back to back. And after his second viewing, he skipped all the games to watch the games for the fuck of it. He loves Squid Game. Also appreciate your support in the comment section. All right, this is the Squid Game spoiler talk. Spoiler warning. Again, I say spoiler warning. Don't watch this if you haven't seen Squid Game. Even if you're like, I don't think I'm gonna see Squid Game. You will eventually, so don't watch this. Because you want that marble game to gut punch you. We all do. It's our way of feeling something. But as always, I always say in my spoiler talks, like, oh, this isn't gonna be a play-by-play. I'm not gonna go like scene for scene, step by step. Squid Game, I really want to, but it's just, I'm not going to. There will be things I forget to talk about and things after I upload the video, I'm like, fuck, I wish I'd talked about that. Don't worry. There's always going to be more talk about Squid Game for my video of Squid Game Season 2, which is definitely happening. So how people get roped into this game is this slap game. You know, it's like you slap the paper on the ground, you got to flip the paper, and if you don't, it's like, oh, you got to pay money. Or you can pay the body price, where it's like, slap, okay, you pay with a slap, you get slapped, which is really manipulative and kind of amazing, because you know that you will get the money that you're promised, and you've just spent however long subjugating yourself to this person. So on many levels, you're probably going to be like, yeah, here I come to the game. And when you watch Squid Game again for your second viewing, there are things that you'll notice that you didn't notice the first time around, or maybe you noticed it, but it didn't stand out. Like in that first game, red light, green light, when people are, you know, dying. And then it gets to the point where people are crossing the finish line. You see the old guy, number 1. He's like, yeah, big old grin on his face, crossing that finish line. Like he's grinning like he's having the time of his life. He's grinning because he is having the time of his life, because it's his game. That's the thing. That's the big twist, is that he's the guy behind it all. In that second viewing, you see his big old grin. You're like, oh man. I don't know. The first viewing, you kind of take it as like, oh, he's an old guy. And I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why I wasn't like, wait a minute, why is he grinning? At a point in the series, you're like, oh, he has these intermittent moments of being lucid, not being lucid. Maybe that was just a moment, but it's not. He's just super happy that he's playing life and death with people. I am a little bummed if I'm skipping forward, because, I mean, now we're talking about second viewings. I am a little bummed that when the guy, you know, like, what's his name? The handler? I don't know what his title is. The super scary masked man, the front man. I think that's what they call him. When, you know, he's asked, like, why are you doing this? And he's like, you bet on horse races. To us, you are the horses. I kind of wish they didn't explain that to the audience, you know, because on second viewing, you could watch him betting on horse races and it'll just hit you like, oh, he's betting on horse races, and it's to them, they're horses. Oh, wow. You don't mean any more to these people than the horses mean to you. That's super dark. But, you know, it would be a thing that would mean so much more if the audience just reaches that conclusion upon second viewing. And one of the coolest things in the show is a thing that makes the second episode slow down, but it's really necessary, is when they take that vote. Like, yeah, if the majority votes to get out of here, the game will stop. And it's a tied vote, and the old guy is the last vote, and he actually votes like, yeah, stop the game. Let's all go home. Which is amazing, because that's how certain he was that people would come back. Which also shows he's like, well, I want people to play the game if they want to play the game. Seriously, have you ever tried to make someone play a game they didn't want to play? It sucks. Yeah, point is, people walk away and a lot of them are like, what's out here? Why not have that shot? Also, brilliant move on the company's part, aka the old man's part, and having the big see-through piggy bank above everybody, continually reminding them why they're staying there. And Squid Game has more than a few important moments. There are these moments that are just kind of like checkpoints for me, where I'm like, that's a very important moment that takes it to the next level. One is when there's an unofficial game that's still part of the game, where they give everyone very little food just to stir the pot. And then of course a fight breaks out so they can find out, all right, who's the alpha Chad? That guy. Which is interesting because that's when you learn, like, wait, you can just beat someone's ass to death and it's not really against the rules, I guess. So, all right, so we need a team of assassins to stealthily sneak around in the night and just kill people in their sleep. But that's when I was like, high school cafeteria, elementary school playground, it's all this. That's all life is. Everything you need to know to survive life, you learned on the playground. But a big landmark moment in this entire thing was the tug of war game. That was when it really got real for the characters, for me, at least in my perception, because it's the first game where people died based on you. Like, your winning means they die. Before it was like, you could cross the finish line if someone else died, it's because they moved during red light, green light. If someone else died in the candy game, it's because they didn't cut the shape out fast enough or they broke the shape. Before, you living and them dying, those were separate things. But in tug of war, if your team won, it meant the other team died. It means you killed them. That's probably when it got much more real for these characters. The marble game that's just when we all cried. I mean, everybody cried, you know, it's just like, oh, we have to team up in teams of 2. And that's when our lead is like, the old guy, I'm gonna be on his team. Funny, because old guy knew that the rule was, well, even if you don't find a teammate in this round, it's not like you die. Then the reveal was, yeah, teams of 2. In the words of Optimus Prime, one shall stand, one shall fall. One of you is gonna live, one of you is gonna die. That got real for everybody, because all of us were like, oh man, the old man's gonna die? Because, I mean, the main guy's not gonna die. Husband and wife are looking at each other. That shit was brutal. Dude, completely swindles. I was like, this is the most naive human ever. The majority could vote, right? You know the majority could vote during the game, because at the very end of the show, in the very last game, he's like, no, if we can take a vote, if me and him don't want to go on, the game can end. Like, yep, that's true. It's okay. So when husband and wife are like, we don't want to kill each other, and the dude with the old guy are like, no, I don't want to do this. If the majority of the people who you have to assume teamed up with people they generally like, they could vote like, nah, let's not do this. I was actually really surprised nobody threw that out there. But I suppose if they did that, then there wouldn't be, the show's gonna end there? Regardless, most trusting human on the face of the planet dies because he got swindled. Because, dude, it's all about technicality. As a Magic the Gathering player myself, it is all about the wording, and I did appreciate that fact where he's like, the rules state I can use any means necessary by any rules, just don't resort to physical violence to get my opponent's marbles. I did not resort to physical violence and have his marbles. Meanwhile, Toodles has still lost his. Though I was like, oh shit, when the main dude is playing against the old guy, and he's basically the old guy, I mean, he's playing up dementia, but we don't know that at the time, and our lead realizes that he can just tell the guy, oh no, you said the other thing, and he would believe it. And so he starts doing that, and you're like, this is brutal. In so many cases in the marble game, people realized how ugly they have to get, or how ugly they're willing to get the money. The only person who didn't get ugly were the 2 girls who teamed up, and that one drops the marble like, oops, slipped. It's like, they were all brutal in their own way. Like, they're all just gut-wrenching, heartbreaking scenarios. But I broke my own rule. My rule is, if you don't see the body, they're not dead. Which means the cop is alive for season 2. Absolutely. We didn't see the body. Now, I'm not falling for that shit again, because I fell for it with the old man. I just thought it was like, well, no one wants to see an old man get shot in the head, which is true. But they used that to hide the fact that the guy didn't actually get shot. He didn't die because he's the mastermind. When the game of glass hopscotch, whatever, I don't know what the game is called, but it's basically 2 panels of glass. They're up on this high rise, and there are like 16 to 20 rows of glass side by side, and one is tempered glass that'll hold your weight, and the other one's just regular glass and you're gonna fall right through. Have fun guessing. Yeah, I was like, there's no way we're gonna leave this game with more than a couple people. That's the thing I appreciated about the show, is that they did a good job at having games filled with tension. As the games went on, I was like, no, we're really slicing it by half here. Tug of War was the first one where it's like the survivors down by half. Marble game down by half. The tempered glass game down by a lot more than half. I love the guy who was the math expert, the mathematician. He just starts going through it. He's like, the odds are 1 in 30 something thousand. He was the one who was smart enough to know how fucked he really was. He was like, screw it. And he just starts running. I mean, what can you do? You know, it's like, what are the odds? He said the odds. They're not good. This is also when we meet the VIPs with their cow head masks and whatnot. And yeah, these are the bad actors of the movie. Like, they're definitely the weakest part. There are a couple of plot lines that were interesting, but then they're just gone at a point. You know, like the organ harvesting thing. It was happening and then it was gone. Granted, they all got sniffed out and caught and it led to problems. And I liked how it showed that even the enforcers, they have their little thing where they're trying to chip away and get a little bit more money, showing that they need more money, showing that they're not well taken care of, they're not free. Everyone's a slave to the system, so the cop looking for his brother, who ends up being the company man, the front man, the ominous masked man. And then the final confrontation, the final game, after they all got steak dinner and our girl got Boba Fetted. She didn't have to. I mean, she was probably going to die, which I do call foul on that. Like, all right, so the glass platforms, they all blew up and a shard hit her. Really big shard too. I feel like you could be like, dude, that I passed and that thing blew up and this is kind of your fault. You should fix me. I mean, it's not like you're dealing with the most sensitive people, but they do seem pretty stringent on rules being important. And I'd be like, the rules say I passed and I shouldn't die as a result of passing. I shouldn't die as the result of your pyrotechnics after the game was over, after I was declared a winner of that game. So come on, patch me up. But she was going out, she was going down. And then dude's friend, like, she just gets her throat slashed. I'd have been pissed too. I'd have been like, what was she, a threat? Why'd you do that? Like, if we're all playing the next game, she was on her way out. If she lived to make it to the next game, you think she was really going to be able to do anything? But it puts our guy in mode where he's like, offense on Squid Game. And Squid Game just seems like, I don't know Squid Game myself. I never played it. That was not a thing we played on the playground. The duties would send you to the wall if you tried to play a game like that. A good epic in Odyssey is not without its poetry. And so it's a face-off between two childhood friends. He has a face-off against his childhood friend Cho Sang-woo, in which Cho Sang-woo gets beaten, and then it's thrown out there like, hey, if we both vote to stop the game can stop. And then his childhood friend Cho Sang-woo stabs himself in the neck, which is sad and it sucks, but it makes sense to me, because option one is, yeah, they do end it, but then the money goes to neither of them. It goes to the families of the people who died, which isn't a bad cause, but it's not either of their cause. Definitely not his cause. So I think he kills himself knowing that his mom will be taken care of. So our lead, Gi-hun, has the prize money and he just kind of never uses it. And this is the reveal when he goes and meets the old man, you know, his old friend. What was the phrase? His ganbu? You know? What a sweet old man who manipulated and caused the deaths of a lot of people. But damn it, what a sweet old man. And he really just kind of makes the point of, it all boils down to money doesn't buy happiness. It reminds me of a phrase that I'm not going to front. I heard it from, I believe it was Civilization 6, because I have Sean Bean's voice in my head when I think of it. Money can't buy happiness, but it can help you to live comfortably in misery, or something like that. I always like that, but I think there's the relatability of this entire story is the fact that I think we all understand what it is to be an adult and want to be a kid again, or at least have that connection, that fulfillment we had when we were children. When you're a kid, you want to grow up and be an adult. When you're an adult, you're like, I could really go for those simpler times. When playing with friends was completely fulfilling. So what do? We buy retro games and we build nerd caves and nerd rooms to feel a piece of that again. You get money to spend money so you can try to feel that connection that you felt when you didn't have money. But I love it. I love the story. I love the characters. I love the concepts. I love the layers. I'm still appreciating this series as I think about it. And upon second watch, I imagine I'll catch more and I'll think about more and I'll think about, oh, what it's saying about money and happiness and connection and life. That's what I love about stories like this. All right, so again, Squid Game. Now you can talk about spoilers below and talk about all the things spoiler-ish about Squid Game. What was your favorite game? What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? Talk about all you want in the comment section. Don't go to the comment section if you don't want spoilers. Then again, by this time you just watched this video, so I guess that warning makes no sense. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna bounce. Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.